Welcome to the Soul Fam podcast. On today's episode, Lexi and I get the thrill and the pleasure of talking with Paul Miljus, who of Instagram fame has been channeling and talking with various extraterrestrials. I actually came across Paul because I had started to feel a lot of things about blue avians. I don't really know much about them, and very fortunately, as it goes, found him on Instagram and was immediately compelled by his channeling and how interesting it is. Paul, you also have a great sense of humor about all of this.
Thank you. I try to. Is my mic working?
Yes,
Yeah.
your
Okay, yeah.
mic's
No,
working
it
great.
was saying it wasn't working for a second. So, yeah, I do like to have humor in this because, you gotta make light of things. You gotta make fun of yourself a little bit and just have a good time. I'm all about just having a good time. And I think that's a huge thing with channeling too, is just going with the flow and having a good time. It's not about being super serious and trying to search for the answers all the time, because that's going to kind of block you a little bit. But if you're happy-go-lucky and free flowing, it's going to be easier for you to channel the energy, whatever you're channeling for the most part.
Huh. Well, that's cool. Yeah, that was kind of our feeling too about our podcast was that we were like, oh, it's spirituality is so serious and heavy, and come on, it's gotta have a
Hmm.
good time while we're here.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
so how'd you get into this? It's like really, I listened to you and Kristen Davis going back and forth with Davies, excuse me, going back and forth with each other. So you really started working with the angels first, is that correct?
Mhm. I had my spiritual awakening. It was
Mm.
kind of a traumatic experience as well, but it was also an enlightening experience. I quit marijuana. That was one of the things that
Mm.
kind of triggered my awakening because I used it as a crutch to sleep, and when I came off of it, I couldn't sleep anymore. So I just stayed up for like 2 weeks straight, and then
Wow.
I couldn't go to sleep at all after that because yeah. And then I started to have like manic episodes, things like that, and then I started having a spiritual awakening, and then it just kept compounding, and then uh, yeah, a lot of the stuff I was hallucinating because when you don't sleep for a long period of time, you start hallucinating, and that was also a part of it. And that wasn't fun, and
No.
experienced all kinds of energies, positive and negative. And I think that was a part of my awakening. I think I was supposed to experience that. And if I didn't experience some of these negative energies, I don't think I ever would have came off of marijuana because I was kind of addicted. I would have gone back to it, if that makes any sense. So sometimes we have to have these negative experiences, and sometimes these negative energies they play a role here in this universe. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here. And so that's kind of led me into the direction that I went in after that. So then I got really into meditation, guided meditations. I love guided meditations. They really helped me a lot. Just releasing a lot of the heaviness that we have, it really helped me. But now I don't really have to do them anymore. And that's why I'm really glad I met Kristen is we can actually communicate with the angels and work with the angels to do a lot of things within our lives. We don't have to do everything ourselves. Everything is
Mm.
too hard. It's too hard to put everything, all the pressure on yourself and say, oh, I have to do all the shadow work, all this, all that. And so once I started working with the angels, things just monumentally kept getting way better and better for me, just in every portion of my life, whether it's abundance, everything. Of course, there's ups and downs and ebbs and flows, but when I look at my life, like the past 5 years, it's like I'm a totally different person. I've yeah, you can just like manifest whatever you want, basically. Like if you want to be a more confident person, the angels can help you with that too, and that's why I really like working with them. Yeah.
Huh.
I have a
Yes, that's
question.
true.
We love angels. Do you have any specific angels that you would work with? I remember at the beginning of my most recent spiritual awakening, it was Haniel all the time. Always Haniel. She's my favorite. I love her. I
Cool.
would see her everywhere I go. And she's still one of my favorites, but I honestly had no idea there were so many angels. Were there any that played a role in sort of helping you get through that initial really tough time at the beginning?
I think Archangel Michael was one of the main
Mm.
ones. and I kept calling him in over and over, but
Mm.
there's a reason the angels allowed for these negative ETs or negative energies to harass me in order so that I could get off the drugs, basically off of marijuana. Otherwise, I would have never done it. So like they allowed a certain level of harassment from spirit, so in order to get me off, to not be addicted anymore. So I kept calling in Archangel Michael. I'm like, why aren't you doing anything? And that was just part of my awakening experience, and I just had to wait it out until the manic episodes were over. And then after that,
Wow.
I was really hesitant to channel spirit in general. I was very, after that experience, when I came into contact with a lot of these negative energies, and I was very hesitant because I was like, how are you supposed to know what's coming in for you? How are you supposed to know? So I really called in Archangel Michael. I was like, hey, you can be my spiritual balancer, thing like that. And at first I was like, I feel like I was really hesitant at first. I was like, what's this pressure on the side of my head? I don't like it. There's something negative here or something. And that's what a lot of people do. They overthink things. And really it was the whole time it was Archangel Michael. I said, Archangel Michael, please stop this. And it was him the whole time, right here, coming in, trying to talk to me. So these sensations that we get around our head, in our ears and things, they're part of our ear chakras, or whatever you want to call them, our channels, and they start to open over time, and you get weird sensations on your head. And when I started to work with Kristen, and took one of her courses, I released a lot of the fear I had about connecting with spirit, because a lot of people have that fear about connecting with spirit, and I can see why. There's also people have a lot of negative experiences, and uh, people, when you like look online, there's a lot of negativity about connecting with spirit in general, even with a lot of Christians and things. Oh, you can't go, and everything's a demon on the other side. They think everything is a false light. It's stupid, and it's just spreading lots of fear. And basically, I think these old belief systems, they come from the church, because they don't want you to be able to connect yourself. You have to go to a priest, or you have to go to the church to be able to connect with spirit. And the funny thing is their Messiah Jesus spoke to the angels all the time, communicated with the angels all the time. He was basically a channeler, a healer. So it's just like, so some of the things I picked up over time. And so once I started working with Kristen, I was like, wow, this is pretty liberating, uh, to be able to like work with spirit in this way, and not be fearful about it. Because at first I was so fearful. And yeah, I'm glad I'm not like that anymore. So that's good.
That's very cool. So, of course, everybody's going to want to know, what negative energies were you feeling during this process? And I honestly think this is pretty not dissimilar to a lot of people's experiences. It's hard to differentiate between what's real and what isn't. And is this because I'm going through a traumatic event or an emotional event, or, like for instance, you're not smoking pot anymore. So what is it? But I'm curious how that, because everyone will want to know about those negative energies and what that felt and looked like for you, and does that exist?
Well, at the time I was hallucinating quite a bit, so it's not all the stuff that I was experiencing wasn't real. So
Okay.
I realized that afterwards, after I had the
Mm-hmm.
psychosis, because but yeah, during so I had a lot of auditory hallucinations, and so they're
Right.
just negative ETs like reptilians and things like that that were,
Interesting.
and also probably just some other negative energies floating around, or
Right.
and stuff,
Entities.
yeah, just harassing me and stuff like that. But yeah, a lot of
Which
people,
happens with drugs.
yeah, yeah,
It attracts that.
yep. Basically, anytime you are ingesting a substance, it's going to bring you to the level of that frequency. It's going to attract different souls that are really attracted to that frequency. Or like, for example, if if there's some lost souls on the other side and they enjoyed smoking pot, we are
Mhm.
tuning our frequency to the frequency of pot by ingesting it all the time. So therefore they may be attracted to that, and in such case. So if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
But
totally.
It's
Totally.
it's also
I've
like
seen it.
some, yeah, I mean, some people, we've interviewed people on the podcast, and we do have friends in the community who lead people on conscious, plant journeys, and they can handle it, their clients can handle it, but some people absolutely cannot handle foreign substances.
Hmm.
It's
I
their
can't.
systems. I can't
Mhm.
either. I'm sober. My body's not built for it. I can't handle it. I don't fuck with it. And it's interesting because for some people, the sort of getting those chemicals out of your body and going through the withdrawal process and that sort of thing, as you said, it is sort of a beginning of an awakening. And I think everybody's a little bit different. And I mean, do you feel that it was almost like a death and a rebirth for you? Was it that for you?
For sure. It was a complete turning point in my life, and I went through a lot of like suicidal depression ever since the age of 7, all the way up to the age of like 19. That's part of the reason why I got into smoking marijuana. I was like, wow, this is the first time I've actually felt happy before smoking this stuff.
Man.
And I was like, wow, I don't have to worry about anything. Just coming out of high school, I was like, I don't have to worry about what my parents think about me, about anything. So that's one of the things it taught me. So it's not, I'm not saying it's all negative, but um, yeah, it was just a huge turning point in life, a huge transformation from the dark into the light. And it really, it was like it's like the phoenix, a phoenix dying and coming out into the light. That's what it kind of felt like. And it was like, yeah, like you said, dark night of the soul, a lot of people call it.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Exactly. If I recall, in you maybe in your is this right? In at when you're sort of 6 or 7, you already felt a lot of things. You already sensed a lot of things in another dimension, or you had strong intuitive sense. Is that right?
well, not necessarily. I was very sensitive, very sensitive
Yeah.
emotionally, very empathetic.
Mm-hmm.
And
Ah.
so I didn't necessarily know what was going on all the time
Mm-hmm.
because I was kind of checked out of my body as well at the same time. That's just some of the things that happened with blue avian starseeds. Or just avian starseeds in general, they're checked out of their body, especially earlier on in their lifetime. And
Hmm.
because it's like when you're in these avian forms, you're flying around doing all these things. It's like freedom. It's different than the human vessel. So when you incarnate here, you feel trapped. So when you come to Earth,
Ah.
you feel very trapped, and you feel like, oh, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I don't want to live. I don't. I want to. I want to go home. I don't want to live here. I didn't. I would say that all the time to my parents. I want to die, basically.
Oh.
And but yeah, and also very empathetic, very sensitive. So I'm absorbing everything around me that's in the household, whatever it is, and I'm transmuting it. That's
Right.
just kind of how my energy works. It's kind of weird. And I was like, I don't want to do, I don't want to do this. So
That's a lot for a kid. That's a lot for a kid, and
It
that's the
is.
way you're built too. If you that's just the way your vessel is processing energy. That's a lot, and I
yeah,
think we've come a long way in the past few years. But that must have been hard and frustrating. And I mean, I can't imagine there were too many other kids like you. I mean, there were not really any kids like me either. So just so you know.
yeah,
Or we didn't talk about it. We didn't talk about
yeah.
it or
Yeah.
recognize it. Then now we're a little bit more aware, hopefully. But I mean, you're very sensitive beings, especially in an insensitive world. So
Mm,
it's a nobody's necessarily, at least then. I think we're a little more sensitive to it now to, not help navigate that. And certainly the kids that are coming in now are super sensitive beings. So,
yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure. Yes, they're even more sensitive, and that's also a part of it was having the ADHD that I had, and
Mhm.
the only thing that really kept me here was just playing sports, playing soccer, and that's what I really enjoyed doing basically because basically it makes you feel like probably made me feel more remind me of home, just flying around,
Flying.
running around on the soccer field. That's basically. But now I'm, very privileged to say that I'm a way happier than I used to be, and I experience a way higher level of joy, happiness, and part of that is meeting other people that have experienced some level of joy, happiness, because you don't really know what it feels like until you actually experience it or you see other people experiencing it. You're like, okay, it's actually possible to love yourself in that way and to be heart-centered in that way. Okay, this is kind of interesting. So funny.
That's so cool. And Paul, I got to say, most guys don't talk about stuff like this. So it's super, super fun. And you're really brave to share it with us. So really appreciate it. Tell us about the blue avians. And so I was actually curious about it just because there's a lot of bird energy around me. I am not blue avian, I don't believe. But I see a lot of bird energy. I think
Hmm.
it's more Native American. So that's kind of how I initially dove into it. So can you tell us some more about being a blue avian starseed and what
Mhm.
the blue avians are communicating right now?
Yeah, and during that time when I was first awakening, I asked my team, and this you can do this at home if any of you guys are watching. You can ask your team, "Hey, I want to know my starseed origin. Please show me. Please
Mhm.
reveal yourselves to me, whether any way you can, in my sleep or whatever it is." And so what happened is they took me on a ship somewhere to a planet, and then they took me to this auditorium, and I saw this like huge pane of glass, basically, and then all this foliage around, and this huge, massive bird walking around. It was like 5 feet tall, and it was like just like a massive bird, but it's standing a little bit more upright, and it's very conscious, very intelligent, and it can telepathically communicate and things like that. But it's not as but I would say those kind of beings they incarnate mostly in the fourth and fifth dimension, and most of the people that are blue avian starseed on Earth or avian starseeds in general, they come from these types of beings from the fourth and fifth dimension. But then we also hear online that there's many blue avians, the ninth to 12th dimension,
Mm.
things like that. So there's many different species, many different types. And
Hmm.
what I later learned is that I wasn't just blue avian. I was also incarnated as these red avian beings, very similar, but just more red. And those are the more evolved types that I incarnated as. And I also incarnated as like a multicolored one, as ones that aren't as evolved, also ones that are more like grayish color or blackish color. Yeah, it's very weird. It's like the birds on Earth, you know? That's what it's like in the universe too. So it's kind of weird. There's just many
But
different
bigger.
types. Yes,
But
yes.
bigger, uh,
More intelligent,
more
way more
more
intelligent.
intelligent, or at least that you're aware of. That's super cool. Did that scare you?
Um, yeah, it was kind of weird. When I looked at the bird and it looked at me, and I was like, it's just like there was just this remembrance there between us. It was just, and it was like this experience of love. And then as soon as that happened, they jolted me back into the craft, and came all the way back here to the earth like instantly. And then I woke up. I was like, that was kind of a weird experience, but yeah,
That's cool.
I learned more about him over time.
I feel like some people might even have that lineage and not know. You could be somebody who picks up feathers. I pick up feathers a lot. You could be somebody who has flying dreams. I mean, my kids are always
Yeah.
asking me,
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
run. Would you rather be able to run as fast as a cheetah or fly? I'm like, fly? Of course, fly. You know, my dad's the same way. Run as fast as a cheetah or fly. Obviously, my dad's like in his late 70s and he flies airplanes and he's obsessed and,
Oh.
that kind of thing. Yeah. And I sort of feel like when I think it was during the pandemic, we were visiting family in Oregon and two blue jays got in some sort of altercation. One fell to the ground and then a dog got it and he was mortally wounded. And it was so sad. And I picked him up, this little guy, and he passed away in my hands. And I just remember just stroking his feathers. And there was something that happened to me after that. Like, I think I had a whole new connection with birds, and it was just an instinct. I didn't think about diseases or anything like that. We're out in the middle of rural Oregon where I don't think the birds had anything going on with them. But after I held that bird in my hands, I felt so much more connected to the birds around me, and I could hear, the tiniest flap of a wing of a hummingbird. No one else around me will hear it. I would say, like, hummingbird 3 o'clock. What? How do you know that? I hear it.
That's awesome.
Huh, really?
Hmm.
That is so cool.
So it may
Yeah,
not be as direct as a dream about the bird. You could be tuning in other ways.
for sure. Yeah, and if you don't, I wasn't. Some people say, "Oh, do you have to resonate with birds to be a blue avian starseed or be into birds?" No, not necessarily. I wasn't really into birds before I had this spiritual
Mhm.
awakening and things like that. And it can also depend on the amount of lifetimes you've had on Earth too. I've been on Earth for quite some time now, so a little bit more acclimated to the human experience than some people might be. I have a cousin who's very into birding, and he is all he does, and that's all he does, and like that's what he does just to cope with life in general, and he just does birding, and it's one of his first lifetimes here on Earth, so it's
Oh.
so it's that's his way of coping with being on Earth. I'm going to place all my focus on the birds at all times. So some people may have, it's very rare. I don't see it very often for people only have avian experiences and then incarnate here, but that's basically what my soul did, and it was a very rocky road for my soul incarnating on Earth. It was very difficult to adjust from those experiences. Instead of coming from a Pleiadian experience, it's probably going to be a bit easier to assimilate to Earth because it's just the vessel is so different. It's just completely different.
Oh. So tell us about that. What are the blue avians about? I mean, what's some striking character or any of the avian cultures, so to speak. Um, what's some defining characteristics or traits or their values or superpowers? I don't know.
Yeah, what I see a lot of times within blue avian starseeds, like I said, the energy of transmutation, being able to transmute the energy around them.
Yeah.
So the one thing is their environment is very important to them. So if they're going to be in an environment around a bunch of negative friends or just like people that aren't very awake in general, it's
Mhm.
just not going to be good for them because they're going to absorb all that energy and transmute it. But in the end, it's better just to be around other high vibrational people, and that's one. They're definitely their environment affects them very much. That's one of them. But and also ADHD, autism, things like this, and
Hmm.
are definitely, and also being checked out of your body and being ungrounded is a huge one. Like always being, I didn't feel like I was in my body until the past few years, like kind of more
Right.
into my body. I was like in school, I was always just in the clouds, like at all times. So, and the only time where I felt kind of semi grounded and focused is on the soccer field. And that's one thing I've noticed about people that have these avian experiences. They're very good at focusing on one thing at once. So you'll see like
Mm.
the things that I offer through my website, it's only like one or two things, just because it's difficult for me to multitask on a bunch of different things at
Oh,
once,
interesting.
but I'm very good at focusing on one thing at once. But if you had like Palladian or some fairy lifetimes on Earth, you're going to be a lot better at multitasking, you know, here on Earth. That's one thing I've noticed.
That's so interesting.
That makes a lot of
So,
sense. Yeah, just
yeah,
air
doesn't it,
energy.
Lexi?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yes, ADHD over here, uh, autism in the family. Woo, yes. And I think that yes, being in the body and staying grounded, it becomes so vital just to even like get through the day. Like I've got to get on the treadmill or I've got to go to hot yoga or I've got to walk around the
Oh,
block,
yep. Hot yoga, big
you
one for
know?
me.
Right? Oh, you like hot yoga too?
Yeah, I did it for
Yes.
several years, like or 2 years every day, and then I went to a hot. That's partially what kind of kicked off the second part of my spiritual awakening was doing the hot yoga teacher training, and I got
Oh,
really into it. I even learned how to teach it and everything,
oh,
and
wow.
it was really interesting. And uh, yeah, it really helped to ground me a lot. The hot yoga. Wow, that was an enlightening experience for sure.
That is cool. So, what do the avians say about the Earth right now? About what's this crazy planet?
I can channel something for them from them. That'd be
Oh,
good. Okay.
that'd be super cool.
So this would be a cool exercise for you too, if you guys want to help and feel the energy, and any of you that are watching, if you guys want to feel the energy. If the energy is too strong, you can always ask it to step back, and they'll step back, or you can ask Archangel Michael to kind of clean it up some because you don't want to be able to feel the energy as much. But yeah, because it can be very intense. When these higher dimensional avians come in, your body will heat up. Sometimes people even get like stinging on their body, or yeah, like shocks and sting on my body. It's like really weird feelings. I don't know why I get that, but that's sometimes what happens when they come in. But yeah, well, I'll let you guys sense it for yourself. So basically, just relax and kind of just let go, like you're daydreaming in high school, and calm down and breathe and let go. And the cool thing is we don't think about channeling that I learned. We don't have to try to search for the answer or to try to feel the energy. We just have to let go. And with intention, we call this energy in to our space. And if you don't feel it, that's fine. I didn't feel anything the first time I started doing this either. So yeah. So the cool thing is sometimes they'll show up on one side of your face or come in from one side of the room, or they'll may come in through the top of your head or even through your body in general. So that's cool. But I'm kind of feeling them more coming on the left side of my body. I'm feeling like there's several of them here for me. Too. A lot of times they show up in pairs. Sometimes they show with more, but I noticed a lot of these higher dimensional ones, they just kind of show up in pairs. That makes any sense. These ones seem to be very high dimensional. I'm just going to ask them what dimension they're in. 12. They're kind of laughing when I ask that question, like 12, give or take. Kind of like that. They're kind of funny. So, what was the question that we were going to ask them?
What do they think of Earth, or does Earth have problems, or I mean,
Okay.
obviously, like how advice
Okay.
for
Any
those of
advice
us.
for humanity, Blue Avians? Yes. We are happy to be here. We are happy to channel through this one today.
Oh, thank you.
This is an exciting time on Earth. He's saying a once in a lifetime opportunity, but instead he's replacing it with once in a universal time opportunity to be here on Earth at this time. So that's kind of funny. His energy seems to be a little bit more masculine for me, more like divine masculine. He thinks that humans have a lot of potential and we will continue to grow along this path, but it will take some time. He says he knows a lot of the people in the spiritual community think that we're going to be into the 5D pretty soon here, but he's saying it's going to take most people several lifetimes, even when that they're already on the ascension path. He says the reason for that is that he wants a lot of humanity to go together collectively, not just some people go and he says, well, some may go by themselves like that, but most of the people, they're going to kind of go together. If that makes any sense. He's saying also the point of that is, a lot of us here on Earth are star seeds, and we have incarnated in other places that are higher dimensional anyways. So what would be the point of us already being in the higher dimensions here on Earth, like fifth dimension? So part of this experience is experience the depths, experiencing all ranges of emotions. And he's saying that's a huge thing with Earth, experiencing all of these emotions and being able to navigate this reality with your emotions is a huge thing that needs to be learned by a lot of souls. He's like, not every soul, not every extraterrestrial experiences it in this way. He's saying the most similar he could draw to would be a Palladian. That would be the most similar in terms of experiencing emotion. So he's talking about following the Palladians' blueprint is what he wants us to follow. And he's saying there's many of them that have laid out their blueprints for us, and their energy here on Earth has been activated upon the Earth plane. And he's saying Jesus Christ is one of those. He's very happy to see that we're all interested in these spiritual topics, and he keeps pointing out he wants us to keep walking this path of light, and to keep going down this path of light, and to keep enjoying this experience and focus on the enjoyment of the experience instead of trying to get to the next level or trying to get to the next dimension or uh, like a competition. He's saying it's not about that. That's some of that's kind of coming from the ego. I think mainly we just want you to be happy, and we want you to be open and to be awakened and to have an experience where you're having fun here on Earth. He's saying that takes time for many to learn. but that's about how it is when you shift into the heart chakra, when you shift into the heart center. It takes time to do this because most people on Earth are always up here. He's saying, especially the men, especially the men. So, yeah, he's saying one last final thing. I think this right here, pointing down at the heart, this is the key to your full potential, and that's going to help connect you with the rest of your chakras. And what's going to help you manifest whatever you choose to manifest here in this reality. Because you are indeed here to create, and we want you to create what you want. And he's just backing off a little bit now and saying thank you. He's saying, if you have any other questions, let me know.
I do.
That's cool. Okay.
Can I ask?
Cool.
Can I ask a question about
Yeah, for sure.
feelings?
Ask anything you want.
Okay. Do they let's see. The being in your heart chakra and having fun is deceivingly difficult, I think, because we are in our heads. In addition to grounding our bodies and trying not to be in competition with others, are there any bits of advice that he might have, just on a maybe a daily exercise or something to sort of come back to that heart chakra?
Okay. Yeah. So what advice do you have for this? He's saying let go, surrender, trust, call in your angelic team, your starseed family to help with this. This is not all on you. He's saying this is not all on you. We're not putting all this pressure on you to have fun, if that even is putting pressure on us. He's saying all these things that we learn here, this experience, are just things that we have in our toolbox. They're not necessarily meant, this is part of our divine purpose. We have to do this in this certain direction, in this certain path. So he's talking about, I'm going to try out Reiki healing. He's using that as an example. That's not necessarily you have to be on that path forever. He's saying that's just another tool that you're learning here in this experience. He's like similar in the way you're learning meditation or grounding in nature or asking your team to help you with certain things, asking your team to help ground you. He's saying, don't call in the blue avians when you need grounding. That's what he's saying. Yeah, so that's
He's funny. He's funny.
Yeah.
Thank you. That
Yeah,
is super helpful. Thank you. Thank you.
Usually they don't have as much like they're not as funny in the higher dimensions, or like they don't have as much of like a personality sense of humor. But usually like my spirit guide that's more closer in frequency than I am, he cracks way more jokes like all the time, like crazy. But it's funny.
Huh.
Yeah, do you have any other questions to me about just like channeling in general?
So, one of the more recent sessions that videos that you did was about Lyrans, and you mentioned how, at least in that particular instance, you happen to be picking up on different energies, and I don't know if it was from a particular person or they just happened to come into you. Do you feel like, do you come into different energies from time to time? Does it vary? Do they like kind of contact you out of the blue? Hey, Paul, are you, available? Or, is that it? Or is it like, somebody who's an Orion background, so that pops up? How does it work?
Well, certain people were requesting a Lyran channeling on my YouTube, so that's part of the
Oh,
reason I
okay.
did it. And then
Cool.
also, yeah, I did a podcast with Altea, the girl with the red hair. I don't know if you've seen her on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
She's really bright red hair. She does like
Okay.
light language and all that stuff. But she has some
Cool.
Lyran lifetimes. And
Oh.
I just got curious about the Lyran energy, and I just wanted
Mhm.
to channel one of these Lyran beings in the Galactic Council. So anytime you want to, so what you can do, the angels are always going to help bring you what's your highest and best good. So you're like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and channel the Lyrans today. I'm gonna see what comes through. So
Mhm.
what the angels brought in, or what through my intention, whether it was from the angels or whether it was just through my intention, I was like, all right, I want to channel a Lyran being today, and that Lyran energy came in, and I was like, okay, so what dimension are you this from, and like where are you from, like it, and they're like, oh, we're from the Galactic Council, this blah 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 blah.
Oh,
So you
right.
just kind of like figure it out as you go. But that's kind of how, and if that's my approach, not everyone's approach, but that's just a way I do it. And I do channeling in a different way than some people do it. Everyone does channeling in a different way, which is what I've realized.
Right.
Everyone's clairs are different. Some people are very good
Oh.
at clairsentience, feeling emotion. Some people are very good at claircognizance, just knowing the answer. And just by practice over the time, you get to use the discernment. Okay, is that my thought, or is that what at first it's going to sound more of just like your thought when you first start trying it. So it's just about, just practicing it over and over. That's what we practice in the courses. Okay, what energy is this? I'm feeling the energy around me. What energy is this? Does it feel more masculine? Okay, it feels more masculine. Is it an ascended master? Okay, yes, I get a yes response to that. But then you get faster and faster at picking up on things, and you don't necessarily have to ask all the questions. You just kind of know they're there, because they all come in different ways too. So Jesus will come in a certain way. He's going to come in and tickle my nose or something, and I'm going to know it's him. So it's different. And some people do trans channeling. I'm not doing trans channeling. It's a little bit different. You know what trans channeling? It's like when you're you gotta go somewhere else and a different energy enters you.
Oh.
And
Oh,
you,
yeah.
go,
No.
you kind of like
Oh.
go like that and like
Visual.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Bashar. You know that guy Bashar?
Right.
That's a good
I've
example
seen.
of trans channeling. He's pretty good.
Yeah.
But
Right.
yeah, what I do is I may do trans channeling in the future, and I think I've probably done it once or twice. But
Right.
really, I'm just channeling a portion of that energy. I don't really go anywhere. I'm just channeling a portion of it, and yeah. And if you want to ask them to come in closer, kind of more of that energy through you, you can make that intention too. So that's cool.
Interesting. You make it sound so simple, Paul. It's like,
It is
hey,
simple.
hello, Galactic Council. So The fact that the Lyran from the Galactic Council, excuse me, showed up for you is kind of interesting. That they connected through you. Is that usual that somebody kind of so powerful in the Galactic Council would? It's just interesting. They have a
Well,
lot of pull, I think, right? I could be wrong.
mhm. So these energies are very high dimensional and they're basically
Mhm.
like omnipresent. So they can be in
Oh,
multiple places at once. So those
right.
same avian beings can be there. They could project their energy, fractal part of their energy around both of you at the same portion of the
Oh,
time or whatever. So there's no limits in the higher dimensions. it's all
yeah.
it's all connected and multidimensional. It's very difficult for us to understand. I don't try to understand it because
Mhm.
some people try to like go into it into depth. I'm like, okay, maybe, but we don't really know.
Right.
But yeah, that's
Interesting.
what I've kind of picked up from spirit for the most part is that everything's connected and uh oh yeah, why would someone from the Galactic Council come in? Probably because I think I'm broadcasting this, or we're broadcasting something to a large amount of people, or
Mhm.
relatively, a
Mhm.
larger amount of people online or spiritual people. So they want to get their message across sometimes. Uh, and also, it depends on your frequency too. So if you
Mm.
sometimes when you channel these very high dimensional frequencies, it can be hard to kind of hang on for too long, especially the blue avians. I wouldn't recommend starting out how to learn how to channel with the blue avians because you can only handle it for so long. That's why when people say, "Oh, I wish the ETs would just show up here on Earth," I was like, I don't think so
I couldn't
because
handle it.
yeah, our bodies are so different to their vessel. It would freak us.
Oh.
It would freak us out, and like it
Mhm,
would have
mhm.
a response with our energy. It would be very weird. It would be very weird, but yeah.
It'd be difficult for us to process and for our bodies, for the DNA of our bodies to potentially not only hold it, but to integrate it.
hmm And also just energetically wise as well. When you come in someone in contact with someone that has really intense energy, really intense
Okay.
starseed energy, and you feel their
Mhm.
energy, imagine that, but like times 100 with these ETs. They're
Oh,
so different than us in every way. It's like crazy, but
it's awesome.
yeah.
Love that. It's cool. Lexi, we were talking about this. I want to ask this question just because right before you came, we all got together. We were talking about the Arcturians and the Arcturians sort of having a bad rap
I think it was
for a
the
while.
the Arcturians or the Anunnaki, which I don't. Somebody
Yeah,
had a
that's
bad, which I don't know. I'm not sure because I also heard there were some bad Pleiadians, which I'd never heard in my life. I thought they were like these wonderful, goofy, like
No, I don't
water.
get that they're the Anunnaki. I've checked in several times with the Anunnaki and different
Oh,
energies like that. Or I've asked Spirit about that. I haven't necessarily connected straight with the Anunnaki, but maybe I have. I'm just not aware of it. Really, with the what Spirit tells me is like it's actually not really important for us to really place our focus there all that much. They
hmm.
talk about how a lot of these ET energies were here seeding planet Earth, and when I talk about seeding, bringing certain plants, certain animals, helping with the
Hmm.
energy of the earth, helping humanity's consciousness evolve, incarnating over and over into human form. A lot of these beings that were here doing that are Pleiadians, the blue avians and other beings that were here. And also, I think what I've heard is that Andromedans are actually a little bit newer to incarnating on Earth, a little bit newer than them. But
Hmm.
yeah.
Interesting.
So when you hear about like Atlantis and these places like this, a lot of them have Pleiadian lifetimes and they're like Pleiadian and Atlantean and things like that.
Do they talk to you about hybrids at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've tapped into about the grays, that's kind of a touchy topic and a lot of people don't agree with me on several things and that's okay because I don't think it's about trying to agree with everyone in the spiritual community because in
Mm.
reality,
Hmm.
we don't know 100% everything that's going on. You know, a lot of people talk about there's multiple timelines, multiple realities, multiple dimensions. So it's very so it's like, at what vantage point are you looking at it from? If you're looking at it from the fifth dimension, and it's gonna be like that. So it's just like, but yeah, with the hybrids, I've asked Spirit about are the Greys, splicing their genetics with human genetics and creating hybrids, and I did get a yes for that, and I also saw them in some underground facilities, and uh, but they're hanging out in a different dimension in these underground facilities. So these gray human hybrids are already fifth dimensional beings. So they're already just kind of hanging out on the new Earth, and then the humans are going to be there as well once we keep going up. Because the Greys, they can't evolve emotionally as much within their vessel. That's why they're doing that, kind of creating hybrids and stuff like that.
Oh
Interesting.
man.
Okay. Got to get
I
my
was
head of
gonna
it. That's
say,
really interesting.
like, I'm definitely not a gray human hybrid. There's no way. And then when you said they have problems with their emotions, I'm like, well, all right. I could be a gray if they have if they need help sort of growing emotionally. Fine. Okay, sure. Maybe
No,
I'm a
I think
hybrid now.
most people on Earth need a help growing emotionally, and I think Arcturians are definitely one of those as well. Arcturians, their mind is so expansive in consciousness, it's incredible. And then uh, trying to shift down into the heart and the emotions is a little bit more difficult for them. But that's what I've
So
known.
Lexi's a hybrid.
I don't know. Everybody's just saying every time now it's yeah. I don't know. Sure.
Mhm.
And we've
Sure.
had
Why not?
discussions about I mean, obviously that's possible, of course, right?
Of
Yeah, I think that
course.
is possible. That I've never really met many people that are hybrids, or I don't think I've met anyone really that's like a full hybrid, if that makes any sense. Because really we're all kind of hybrids, if that makes any sense. Because these
Right.
ETs, they've spliced some of their own genetics. People say it's Anunnaki or whatever it is. Some of them have spliced their own genetics within ours. So over the millennia, we all are kind of hybrids, if that makes any sense. But in
Hmm.
terms of recent hybrids genetics, I think there are people. There definitely are people that are hybrids that are just living amongst us, that they have been abducted and then and have a baby put into them and all kinds of things like that. I think that is possible, and I think that does happen. But
Are you
yeah,
getting that vibe
Interesting.
from me, Paul? Are you getting that vibe?
no, I don't think you've been been a hybrid, one of those hybrid babies. But yeah, that's funny.
Interesting.
That'd be cool. I
Hey,
can go into your starseed origins if you want me to. Uh,
sure.
do you already know your starseed
Sure.
origins? So you said you might be Arcturian.
A bit. I mean, we did our galactic charts a while
Okay.
back. There wasn't as much Pleiades as I thought there would be. There was some Orion, uh, Andromeda, Lyra, Draco, and more Lyra. And more Lyra.
You've been everywhere. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I've only been Arcturian a certain number of times, but not very many times, and then a ton of different avian species, like too many.
Hmm.
There's a bunch of them, but I was two main different types. Those red ones and the blue ones. Those were like the two main ones that I was. It's kind of weird. Okay, so let's see what Lexi's starseed origins are. This will be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Arcturian is one of them. So when I check over to Palladian, I'm not sensing much there. So you may have incarnated a couple of times there, but I'm not sensing it as one of your more dominant ones, if that makes any sense.
Maybe I just like them.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I like Palladians too. All
They're
my
very
friends,
likable. They're so
yeah,
funny, right? Yeah.
yeah, they're just they taught me self-love. That's one of the things they taught me. That's one of the things Jesus has helped teach me too, from the other side. But yeah, it's funny.
makes sense.
Okay, so Orion, is that one? Yes. Lyran, Orion, Arcturian, Andromedan, or Sirian? Is that one of them? Yes.
Mhm.
So which one is it? Sirian? No, Andromedan. Andromedan. Okay. Just double checking, sometimes I second guess myself. But I think yeah, so you've been everywhere. So your soul must like exploring. Especially with souls that incarnate in Lyra. I see them incarnating in 5 different origins almost every time. Whenever they incarnate in Lyra, they so adventurous. They incarnate in all these different ones. Is she gonna keep incarnating on Earth again? Yes. So is her time coming to end? Like, is she gonna go away to a different planet soon? No. So why is that? They're saying we need her. It's your team.
Oh,
We need
thanks,
her here.
guys. That's nice.
We need more awake people, and so that's good. They're saying, contrary to a lot of people think, a lot of the people that are awakening here now on the planet are going to keep incarnating because uh, they need the experience that's here on Earth that you've already had on Earth too. So how many lifetimes has she had on Earth? Not very many. Two. What about two? Around 100 or so.
That's not
So
very many. Oh.
so is it more like 50 or so? No, it's saying closer to 100. Yeah, they're saying, or no, like I'm also, yeah, I think they said not very many, but also when I in my sessions, that's not very many. Like but there's also some people that have like 5 to 10, lifetimes or something, and that's just seeing those people, you're like, whoa, I've had a lot of sessions with a lot of people, and seeing those people, I'm like, thank God I had some lifetimes here because they are so ungrounded and so like new to Earth, and they are not used to the human body at all. And you see a lot of people that are gender fluid or transgender or whatever it is. And this is also a lot of times they haven't had many lifetimes on Earth, so it's like you're kind of confused. A lot of people are just when they're ungrounded in general, they're just confused about a lot of things, and sometimes they're here to show that, oh, it's not just about being male or female. A lot of these ETs that they were before, they weren't male or female either. So it's just they're more androgynous energies. Like, but yeah, with that's really cool to see uh your origins. You've incarnated a lot of places, but you haven't been on Earth for a long time, so there must be still something on Earth for you. So that's really
Gonna
cool.
find it. Thank you, Paul. Do you have time to
That's
channel
very cool.
Diana's? What about Diana?
Oh my
I'm
gosh, no,
so
I've been here
curious.
forever.
No. We always talk about how I'm a hybrid and
Diana.
an alien. Like we always talk about how I'm an alien. Let's talk about Diana now.
Just for a second. I've been here forever. I know it. And
Just the
and I
bullet, the
I
bullet
pretty
points.
I think I have a deal to get out of here this time, but we'll see.
So is Diana gonna keep incarnating on Earth? Yes.
Come on.
Yes. Your team's saying, why would you tap out, Diana, right before it gets good here on Earth? Why would you tap out?
I
That's what they're
I'll be
saying.
here for this time, but like I want to complete my mission and move on.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of people that you're going to need to help in the future and in future lifetimes on Earth. There's going to be a lot of people that need help in general with your Earth experience. They keep pointing out your Earth experience, that this is like a really good thing. They're talking about Earth is still in like the prehistoric stages of the new Earth, of the new age, and they still need people to really help a lot of people out. Okay, so what are her lifetimes? I think I already kind of have a guess just by knowing your personality and stuff, but and how long you've been here.
Mhm. Like 10,000 years. I'm pretty sure.
Probably, probably. So in terms of your starseed origins, I'm sensing some Palladian as well, as you may have sensed before.
A
I don't
little
know if you've
bit
sensed before. Some Palladian,
more
Arcturian,
Lyran. Maybe that's how we know each other.
Palladian, Arcturian. So what's your most dominant one? Is it Palladian, Arcturian? No, it's right. You're a Lyran. That's
We're
the most
Lyran.
dominant one, or you've had where
Yeah,
you've had the most lifetimes.
yeah, definitely.
So I feel like you incarnated on Palladian for a little bit and incarnated on Lyran a little bit, or I mean, sorry, Arcturian a little bit before coming to Earth. So you tried out as Palladian and Arcturian before coming to Earth, just to get kind of acclimated to a different experience before coming here and getting a little bit more experience in general before coming here. But in terms of your lifetimes, whew, that's a lot. It's like
I
to
know.
me it feels like up north like 700 or something.
At
So
least
is this true? Okay,
it's more.
so it's around 500. So is it more upwards towards like 700, 800? I don't know. They're saying no, but you've been on Earth for a long period of time, and they're saying talking about it's not about the like number of lifetimes you've had here on Earth. You've been here for a long time, so it's saying you prepare a little bit more for your lifetimes than what Lexi and I do. We just kind of jump in and we're like,
Um,
what are we gonna do here on Earth? What are we gonna do?
that's
And, but
funny.
but with you,
That's
you're like
cool.
you're not gonna incarnate as often, so you're gonna prepare a little bit
Mm,
more and maybe rest a little bit more on the other side before coming in. Uh, but with us, our team's kind of just like pushing us off, and we're like, okay, we'll try it out here. It's
mm.
kind of funny.
It's really interesting too. Just interesting how the souls incarnate, and I appreciate that very much. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. I hope we have not worn you out, for heaven's
I
sakes.
know. Are you
No,
exhausted?
I feel good. No, I feel good.
Yeah,
I've been
yeah.
I've actually been feeling exhausted because lately because just the energies in general lately, like amped up. Like I haven't been able to sleep very much, and that's a
Right.
huge another trait with avian star seeds is they have a hard time sleeping, and I only sleep several
Mm,
hours a night usually, and sometimes I don't really sleep at all, and that's been
interesting.
kind of hard for me at times. But my body's kind of built for it. Like I have ADHD, I can kind of I don't know, it's weird.
And you're an
But,
athlete. I mean, really, your basis as an athlete. You're an athlete, so
mhm.
it's just that sometimes you sort of run on a different. Your adrenaline, your dopamine, your serotonin, your cortisol. It just sort of runs on a different program. The
Yeah, I
human
noticed
body
people
does.
that have been here on Earth a long time, like you or in Palladians, and they get a lot of sleep, a lot more sleep usually.
Yeah,
Or
I like sleep. Not
yeah,
getting any right now, but I love it
yeah.
because I get to check out for a little
Mhm.
while.
Your body, your soul probably goes somewhere else when you sleep. That's probably
Yeah,
why you
it's
like
for
it so
sure.
much. Because Earth is
I
kind of
do.
dense, might be kind of dense for you, so you might just kind
It
of
is.
check out, go somewhere else. And then with me, it's like I'm always in my body, so I don't. My soul doesn't really go anywhere else. I'm just like always here. And it's like, oh, that's weird.
Interesting. This is fascinating.
I know.
So Paul, how do people get in touch with you? Are you going to do any public speaking soon? Is there something going on for you? You want to share with the
No, no one's
audience?
asked me to do any public speaking, so that's funny.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe in the future, maybe someone. I don't know how those public speaking events work. I guess they reach out to the people, and maybe sometimes the speakers reach out to them. I don't know how people do it, but that's
I
kind of
don't know
funny.
either, but I can see you on stage, so it'd be cool.
Thanks.
Are you teaching a course, by the way? So let's get to the some basics here.
Yeah, so Kristen and I will be teaching a course coming up called the Mediumship for Beginners course. And
Uh-huh.
basically, we do what we did here in this live. We tap into spirit and we practice over and over again. We'll just bring you on camera, or you can just practice in the comments. And basically, you just practice channeling guidance, and you go with the first thing you get. And you're gonna mess up many, many times, but it's just about going from the one to the next and getting a little bit of confidence and a little bit of momentum. channeling is not about getting it 100% right. I've never met a channeler that has gotten everything 100% right.
Mm. Hmm.
And yeah, so sometimes, some days I'm channeling at 80% accuracy or 90% accuracy. So it's just depending on how much you've practiced or how open your channels are or how long you've been doing it. So that's all. There's all those are all factors as well. So yeah, if you want to sign up for that, I think that would be really cool. This is
Hmm.
how I learned to channel within one of our courses, and now I'm helping to teach, other people to do it. And Kristen's a really good teacher. Uh, she brings in more of like the plating energy and helps
Uh-huh.
kind of ground out the course. And I'm kind of like taking people too far sometimes and have more of the starseed energy, if that makes any sense.
Awesome. What's your website again?
So my website, we'll just put the link in the description, but I can't. It's
Okay.
my Stan store. I think
Okay.
Stan
Oh,
store,
okay. Gotcha.
Stan store / Paul Miljus or something. But we'll
Okay.
put the link in the description or something like that. That would be
Okay.
cool.
Sounds good. And do you offer, so just to touch base on this quickly, um, do you offer one-on-one counseling for people or one-on-one sessions for people? Do you
Mhm.
also do some work, especially with men?
Yeah, I do help a lot of men connect in with their heart, and that's a huge one. And I think that's really needed for a lot of people on Earth. And I didn't realize that that men needed it this bad to, come
Mm.
down more into the heart. But
Hmm.
yeah, you should, yeah. I don't want to say any more about it because I don't want to get too fiery. But yeah, I think that
Hmm.
yeah, I do work with a lot of men and a lot of people from Europe come to me all over the world,
Oh,
basically. So
neat.
that's cool.
That's amazing. And how long have you been doing this?
So at first the angels were like, oh, how about you just do channelings for someone? I was like, I don't know, I can't even put a channeling on a YouTube video. I don't know if I can do channelings for people. Like I can't even barely channel for myself. I could channel for myself, okay, but it was just like they're like, all right, you can try this if you want. Why don't you just try it and go do it? And so basically, I had a lot of fear. I was like, all right, I'll just feel the fear and do it anyways. And
Mhm.
that's one thing that Jesus has taught me too. That's one thing he always says: feel the fear and do it anyways, because you're not going to get rid of all the fear by I'm going to sit here and pray and ask for it to transmute it. Sometimes you have to overcome the fear by stepping into your power. If that makes any
Yeah.
sense.
Do it
Yep.
anyway. That's
And
such good advice. That's
mhm,
beautiful. And I
yeah.
didn't know Jesus taught that. I'm a big fan, by the way. I didn't know that he taught that. To feel the fear and do it anyway.
Mhm.
That's beautiful advice.
Definitely good. It's not the best with all things. 'Cause sometimes I'll go all in on things. That makes
Hmm.
any sense. I keep saying
Yes.
that if that makes any sense. Why do I keep saying that after
Totally
every
makes sense.
sentence?
We say that all the time.
No,
We're
we
always
makes all
asking questions.
sense. Everything makes sense to us.
Makes sense to us.
But yeah, I've been doing this for 5 years, and it's just expanded slowly over time. So yeah, that's great. I've
Very
enjoyed
cool.
doing. I've enjoyed helping people. There's a lot of people that are very ungrounded that come to me because they're starseed origins, and that
Mhm.
is a little bit difficult for me to handle. But it's nothing that I can't manage. So, but yeah, I get all kinds of people that some people that are more grounded, ungrounded, some people that are men. I had a lot of female lifetimes. That's
Mhm.
why I transitioned to becoming more masculine in this lifetime or being a male in this lifetime is to show men that you can be more in the heart center and not be afraid about this. And basically you can be your own role model. You don't have to look up to any other men in your life if they've failed you or whatever. You can be your own. You can look up to yourself even, and I think that's really powerful thing to do. And yeah, I had most of my lifetime has been female. Isn't that crazy on Earth?
That's cool. Very, very interesting. Super interesting. Well, we're gonna have to wrap this up. I know we've already taken a lot of your time, so
Oh, sorry, I talked a lot. I would love to get to
no,
know both of
No,
you
this
better,
was
but I'm sorry about that.
no, we
amazing.
love it. We love it. It's
Yes,
fascinating. Seriously, it's what we're all about.
that's
Yeah,
what we love.
thank you all for watching, everyone. This was really exciting, and thanks for having me on, Lexi and Anna. This has really been really cool. It's really cool what you guys are doing. I saw the last one with the rod woman. I thought
Oh
she was
yeah, yeah,
cool.
yeah. With Megan,
I saw
she's
her
very
on
cool.
TikTok. I was like, yeah, she has a good energy, doesn't she? She has really
Hmm.
good energy.
Very, very sweet.
Good energy. Yeah. Well, so do you,
Lexi, am I
Paul.
missing it?
I don't
Yeah, like you,
know.
Paul,
Oh,
for
of course.
sure.
I mean, yeah, we could talk about star seeds and aliens all day, but maybe you'll come back for a part 2 sometime.
For round 2.
Yeah, if you're open to it.
For sure.